Hi, my name is Skylar Hauser. This is going to be a video about a little bit about me. It's going to be a little bit about my last Sri Lankan trip and a little bit about my upcoming Sri Lankan trip here in May through July of 2022. I live in Lawrence, Kansas, USA. I have a genetic disorder called neurofibromatosis, also referred to as NF. Just so you know that occasionally I get tongue-tied or I might say words like that. Just so you know that's just who I am. So I'll do my best to pronounce words correctly, especially Sri Lankan town names, but some of them can be hard to pronounce, but I'll do my best. I run a Facebook page dedicated to my grandfather, which was the one that took me to Sri Lanka the first time, called the Earl's Legacy Sri Lankan Photos and Stories. Like I said, it's dedicated to my grandfather and all the times that he went, so it has some of his stories and has a lot of the photos from his trips, but also has some stories from my trip in 2006 and the photos from 2006. Many years ago, my grandfather was on a teaching trip to Sri Lanka where he had a couple conferences there, and apparently when he left one day conference, he bumped into a local that brought him home, gave him the nice food and meals and showed him to the family, and he just fell in love with the family and fell in love with Sri Lanka. He went back every year for, I think it was 24, 25, 26 plus years, went 3 months at a time, mostly to get away from the winter here in America. But one of his last years that he visited, he ended up getting an infection in his left leg. It was flesh-eating bacteria while he was visiting Sri Lanka. They were able to get him well enough to come back to the States, but unfortunately when he got to the States, they found the infection in his left leg, in the bones. So they ended up having to amputate his leg. And due to that, he could no longer live by himself down in Wichita, Kansas, where he used to live. So we brought him up to our house here in Lawrence, Kansas. And throughout the course of a few years, I was always helping him, making sure he had what he needed, helping him with his grocery shopping, going with him to make sure he gets in and out of his car safely and all that. So after doing all that, one day he surprises me close to the time that's saying, "Hey, I want you to go to Sri Lanka with me since you've been such a great help. And he never asked for anything in return." So he's planned a trip for us for January, February, March 2006. I was a sophomore year of my high school. So I went not knowing what to expect and ended up having a great time. I'm also using this video to practice and learn how to do a lot of the GoPro stuff, and then using the video shots from my phone, learning how to stitch everything together so that way I'll at least have practice before I go on my Sri Lankan trip here in a few months. That way the videos will look halfway decent, and that way I'll know what to do. Like I've said before, had a great time the 3 months back in 2006 and January through March when I went to Sri Lanka. Had a great time. It was like 3 whole months there was just perfect. A lot of time to just relax, especially around Colombo, and we traveled to the Central Highlands areas, Kandy, Sigiriya, went as far north as Annapurna. But with the war going on, we couldn't travel much of the north, and we didn't travel much east. Further east we got was Yala. And then didn't do much on the south coast, but did Gaul and did Hikkaduwa, Negumbo, Norelia, if I pronounce that right, and a few other places around there. For the most part, everything went well on those tours. I only had a couple of weird experiences, of course, with the security checkpoints, the machine guns at times, driving past the minefields was definitely an interesting experience as a 16-year-old kid. The only bad experience I really had was in Hotel Sigiriya. I was surrounded by a couple of locals that were trying to get me to pay for company, that young age, and wouldn't let me leave the pool till I either accepted or paid him or whatever. Well, luckily, eventually some other people came over and they kind of got scared away. But other than that, it was a great time had by all. But so it's been a long 16 years since I've been there, so very much forward to this next trip. A few years after our Sri Lanka trip, I was going to Johnson County Community College where I bumped into a couple of Sri Lankans. They told me that there's a huge community between Lawrence and Kansas City, Manhattan, and the surrounding areas. Well, it comes a big surprise to me that one of the gas stations that I went to had a couple of Sri Lankans working there, and getting to know them, they invited me to a lot of the Sri Lankan events in the area, a couple of the events that went on at the Kansas University, and met lots of good friends, and over the years had lots of activities, some Sri Lankan New Year's, and lots of other little things that they did, and hung out their houses and stuff like that. Had a great time with them. So luckily, over these 16 years, I did have some Sri Lankan experiences. And as you can see behind me, I always can come up here to my Sri Lankan wall. I got a whole wall in my room with all my Sri Lankan stuff, the maps, the pictures, all sorts of knickknacks. I think one of these days I'll do a little video of what I have, just so you can see all the cool knickknacks that I picked up from Sri Lanka from eBay the time I was there, some of my grandfather's stuff. So I'll give you a video for that someday. I actually was supposed to arrive in 2021. I was supposed to have a trip. But 10 days before flying out is when the airports in Sri Lanka closed and the quarantine went into effect. And I tried to move back my dates and all that, but with the added expense of a quarantine hotel there in Colombo and everything else that was going on and then being needed for work, I ended up having to cancel my trip last year. But I had a lot of fun events. It was going to be a cheaper trip because I didn't have a whole lot saved. But yeah, I was supposed to go last year, but didn't get to go, but hopefully it'll be this year and many more years to come. As I was saying earlier, I do have a 2022 end of May through very, very beginning of August. I think August 3rd I leave. But I'll be back in Sri Lanka for the first time, and like I said, in 16 years. Really looking forward to seeing the family there again and seeing a lot of my friends that I've made on Facebook and the friends that were here in town in Lawrence. Looking forward to seeing them again and hanging out and visiting places. But looking forward to seeing what's new, especially in the Colombo area, because 16 years, a lot have changed in Colombo. So looking forward to seeing that, traveling to the locations I had never been to. Like, it'll be off season, but I'm looking forward to climbing Adams Peak. Didn't get to do that the last time, and based on my work schedule, probably should mention I'm a school bus attendant in Lawrence, Kansas, so I don't have to work in the summers if I don't want to. So that's my plan every summer. Hopefully for the next few years I can afford a trip to Sri Lanka. So doing that. I'm also very interested in thinking about trying the Ministry of Crab. I know it's an expensive restaurant, but I like crab and I want to be able to compare it to all the other locations as we're traveling around Sri Lanka. Planning about 4 or 5 different trips. One of the trips is to probably the East Coast, doing Aragon Bay, Batacola, and Trimicoli, spending about a week along the East Coast. Then we're going to come back and spend some more time in the Colombo area. Then we're going to go down to Hikkaduwa, probably Yala, and then Norelia, if I pronounce that right. Then we'll have more time to relax, stuff like that. Then I'll do a Candy Sigiriya trip. Then I'll do a trip to Negumbo and Jaffna. And then in between, I might add some other places, like go somewhere on the south coast. Go to, I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, or Ratanapura, the city of the gems, do some stuff like there. That's where I can probably get some other stuff like this. My necklace here with my grandfather's from the family there. But like I said, looking forward to all that. Like I said, hopefully, based on this trip's budget, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than I like. A lot of that's because I want to make sure that to go ahead and book the hotels that have cancellation policies. I was going to go with Jetwing and some other really cool hotels, like the Hairtents hotels, like the Hairtents Tea Factory. But unfortunately, with their cheaper spots there, they don't offer the free cancellations, and I don't want to spend that much money and not get my money back. Because with the experience from last year of having to cancel, and so that's a lot of money to lose. But there's going to be a lot of good things that happen from this trip. Going to meet a lot of new friends. I believe our plan is to rent a car, so that way we don't have to worry about taxis and stuff like that. Might occasionally do a tuk-tuk if it's safe. It's pretty crazy, and the safari in Yala, and we'll rent a car from somewhere. I'm not sure where yet, but like I said, it's a decent budget this year, but probably next year will be a little bit less. So I'll probably go to cheaper hotels. And the years following that, they'll probably be like Airbnbs, hostel stays, local food. So even this year, it'll be a lot of local food because a lot of the restaurants, with their buffets are pretty expensive, they're good. But for me personally, I love Sri Lankan food. So it'll be a lot of the local restaurants and the places. Looking forward to that. As I probably mentioned, I think most of my things will be shot with the GoPro camera, probably the ocean when I go swimming or whatever. Days that it's raining or the waterfalls, I'll be using my GoPro, or any other situations where I can vlog from that. Otherwise, I'll be also taking pictures and videos from my Samsung Note 20 Plus, whatever it's called. So that's what I'll be using for most of the time. I'd like to someday own a nice vlogging camera, but right now I really want to save that money for the actual trip itself. So for now, this is what you'll get. This is what you can expect for at least this next trip. So hopefully it'll work out well, and I'll learn how to use it properly and how to stitch things together and make it better. And my personal thing too is with a lot of videos, I don't plan on adding a lot of music or anything background things, because I like to show what it actually is, not the beautiful background music as you get from like the Coldplay music playing in a lot of videos you see in Sri Lanka, or lots of other music. So it's just going to be the surrounding sounds, me talking. So I'm sorry you're just going to have to deal with that, because that's just who I am. To be honest, I am pretty nervous about the trip. It's like the last time, I was 16, I was with my grandfather, so I had him to help out with a lot of things. And this will be the first time of me going on a big trip by myself, which I'm not used to at all. It's kind of, with everything going on, it's really concerning with stuff, like don't know what to do at times. But once I get to Sri Lanka, I know it'll be a lot better, a lot easier. I'll just be able to relax, hang out at the beach, travel with a member of the family there, and so it'll all work out in the end. But so yeah, for now, pretty nervous, but to be honest, I'm also already packed pretty much. Got all my clothing picked out, my new shoes, my sandals, everything I could possibly need for the trip has already been ordered or picked, and ready to grab my luggage and head out to the airport at the end of May. So once that happens, we'll hit the airport, come back, and hopefully see the family right away on the day I arrive. And one of the things I'll do is my grandfather loved taking them out to Pizza Hut. So one of the first things I'll do is I'll probably have some pictures or video from us all enjoying Pizza Hut as a family together. Well, thanks for watching and listening to me. I know it's probably not the best video right now, because like I said, I'm still learning, and just the way I am, might not be the best video right now, but hopefully there'll be a lot more here in, like I said, from end of May to the 1st of August. Hopefully I'll have some better photos and really cool things to show you. And like I said, we'll see what happens. Looking forward to seeing where this journey takes us here in this summer, and hopefully it'll be a great time. Thank you for watching again, and enjoy your day, enjoy your night, wherever you are. Hope you're doing well. Thank you.